for COINTELPRO get me anyway. What's up, people? Welcome to this Friday Live by the Hood. This is our Friday show where we come around and just talk to the community, talk about current events, what's going on in our personal journey in terms of investing, what's going on in the business world. That's if you're watching for the first time. If you've watched before, you already know what we do here. And shout out to those that watch every Friday because we have a lot of loyal listeners and we appreciate all the support. We got Diamond Dave coming on soon. I think that's Dave right there. Let's see if hey Dave, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear y'all. You can hear me?
Yep, yeah, we good. We good.
All right, we good.
Yeah. So as I was saying, folks, man, this is our Friday show. If you're tuning in for the first time, where we come and talk to the community, talk about things going on in the world of business, talk about what's going on in our personal journey in terms of finance, and talk to the people, get some questions and some comments from the community that we could put out there, man. Today we got a special guest with us. My brother Diamond Dave, he's a marketing expert. He's also an investor and trader and someone that I've learned a great deal from and has made me think about things in a different way. And we're happy to have him back on. He's been on our podcast before to talk about his journey in marketing. And he laced us with a lot of game on that episode too. There's certain things that he said in that episode that still stick with me to this day. So we want to bring him on and talk about marketing and psychology and how understanding what's going on around you in the marketplace can help you make money, right? Because at the end of the day, all of us want to make some money. But a lot of times there's things that are going on around us that we're not even aware of, especially times like now with the election going on, with COVID happening. You see the market going up and down, but then at the same time, you see people getting laid off. There's all kinds of craziness being, put in front of us. So with that being said, let's get some people chiming in right now. Don, what's up, Don? How you, good brother? You know what I mean? Happy Friday. Happy Friday to you, sister. We appreciate you checking in with us. Our brother David Ruff from Malik. Malik, what's up, bro? How you? Yeah, man. So listen, man. Let's get right into it, man. It's a lot going on in the news. We got the the election took place. We still don't know what's what. We got Bitcoin hitting like what, over 15, close to 16 grand at this point, probably. I know it was approaching 16 grand. I'm not sure where it is now, but that's going crazy. The S&P is still cranking out numbers. People are still unemployed right now. So Dave, man. Well, first off, before we get into that, we're gonna talk about all that though. I meant to introduce my brother Cora because I gotta ask Cora about his journey because he was posting some good stuff in our group this week. So Cora, man, tell the people about your investment week before we jump into the current events, man. What did you do this week?
Same shit, different pot. I made a few dollars this week, so I bought another 400 shares of plug at $14.20. So I had 350 that didn't sell last week, and I grabbed another 400 this week. I ran some cover calls on those out to $15. Them Jones, that shit got blown out the water, but I made 10% on my money, so I'm not going to be mad at that. And I also got so basically I sold 700 shares at $1,500. And then I still got.
You mean $15?
I mean, 15.
Okay.
I'm with you. $15 is $1,500.
No, you said at $1,500. I'm about to say it didn't go to $1,500. You meant you made you sold it $1,500.
Yeah, we sold that $15.
Okay.
And then I still got 50 shares that ran along with the market. So, I made a few bucks this week.
Okay, so I mean, you still riding the plug train. That's dope, man.
I'm trading one company.
Okay, Dahlia, what's up, Dahlia? How you? So right now, are you trading this plug?
Yeah, I'm just running cover calls on plug.
Okay.
Or cash secure puts, which is selling puts. So next week I'm gonna be selling puts since I only got 50 shares.
All right. So Tara said that she got her some plug as well. Thank you. Salute, Tara. All right. So Don says we know one thing, that a racist is going to become president. Adrian checking in. Hey y'all, what's up, Adrian? How you? Yeah, man. So that's dope. In terms of my journey, I didn't trade any options this week. I did some getting out of individual companies though. I was talking to Malik. I told Corey this the other day as well. We were talking offline. I got rid of pretty much every individual company that I own, with the exception of J&J and Coca-Cola, because it's just I'm attached to it. And I went all in on MGK and VDC. The ETFs, and there's logic behind it. So sometimes, right, you get to the point where you own too many companies and it's hard to pay attention to. And I'm one of these people that like to study the companies that I own. I like to sit in the conference calls. I like to read the 10Ks, the 10Qs. I like to do all those things. And when you find yourself buying too many companies, you can't do that. So I wanted to hyper focus on the companies I have, but also have some of my favorite ETFs to give me the exposure of more companies. So that's kind of the decision I made. I bought some silver as always, and got some more crypto. So that was my week, man. Dave, I know you've been trading in the markets, man, and I watched some of the game that you be giving out in terms of you give out plays all the time, man. What did you see this week, or what did you do this week in the market?
So this week I'm pretty much got some really risky plays. I got puts on. It's a Chinese like online education company called GSX. I think they're being investigated by the SEC. There's a lot of allegations of fraud there. So I got puts on that because I had known about that earlier, but I wasn't able to position myself. When I woke up, I want to say a little sometime last week, and it went from like $100 around $70. So I said, okay, I think this is getting ready to fall. So I got in at puts on that at the money, and hoping that before my expiration date runs out, the whole bottom falls out for that particular situation. But it's a really high risk play because if you look at a lot of the aftermarket activity, a lot of it is very shady. Somebody will come in the aftermarket, they'll buy like 20,000 shares, to push the stock back up. So when it opens up that next day, it rides back up, and they'll just do that because there's a lot of funny business going on behind the scenes. You see that with a lot of these Chinese companies. Got puts on another company called JKS, which is also a Chinese solar company, because I wanted to bet that I know that if Trump was able to get into office, because of his relationship with China, it'll probably tank that company. With Biden, because him and his people got such a good relationship with China, it's kind of funny how that may go. But I was kind of betting that maybe if Trump could get in, it would kind of sink that. That also had puts on a company called Snow, which is like a tech play that had a lot of attention because Buffett was supposedly attached to it. It IPO'd way above what it was supposed to come out at. It kept running up, so it was around 270. I got puts on that going way out to January, hoping that when they do their earnings and then when they come out of lockout, once those shares hit the market and people have the ability to get out of their position, it's going to start to bring that share price down to probably what it should have been. Because right now it's just way, way, way too crazy. But because of such a small float, they're able to trade it at those high prices. And it's difficult to push it down because, the people that want to short it, they got to borrow shares with that small float. It's hard to borrow shares to try to push it down. So we want that pool to expand, and then we can go ahead and start getting some downward pressure on that. So those are the plays. I mean, those are really high risk plays. So when I'm looking at a play like that, my mindset is that I have to be willing to lose everything I put into it. So then I know that that's the most I can lose, but then I can also gain a lot. Other than that, I'm long on stuff like Neo for the time being, still long on oil, still long on stuff like Facebook, still long on stuff like some healthcare companies. So my buy and hold is pretty much just the old school stuff, and then my riskier plays are normally going to be puts.
Interesting. And that's one of the things I took from you too, because and I mentioned that when we did our podcast. Like, I used to be a guy that did 100% calls, right? Because it was just difficult for me to do puts. And you told me, you said, man, most of these companies are terribly ran. You're missing out too much money. There's so much money in puts. Go ahead.
No, I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry about that. It's a lag on the audio. My fault.
No, go ahead. Dude. Go talk about puts.
Okay, yeah. So I wanted to add on, like, if you look at a lot of companies, especially we start talking about looking at their 10Ks, a lot of them really don't have really good balance sheets, and the model is really weak. So with a lot of companies, even some of the companies got really high stock prices like Tesla, they're doing a scenario where their model is based on them losing money. So the question always is how long can they lose money? So let me give an example. Let's say I said, Jimmy, I'm gonna go to Philly, and I got a business model to where people gonna hand me $10, I'm gonna hand them 20. Well, at the end of the quarter, I'm gonna drive a lot of revenue because every time somebody hands me $10, I hand them 20. So I'm driving a lot of revenue, but in reality, I'm losing money. So when I look at a model, if the model is a model where you lose money, my question is, when they no longer can get capital, they're gonna go bankrupt, or they no longer can return equity on those particular dollars, they're gonna go bankrupt. The question is just how long does that last? Or when I'm looking at companies where a lot of companies like GSX or Nikola or Hyliion, they're fake companies. They're a bunch of hype. When you listen to the CEO talk about the company, nothing makes a lot of sense. So then you know that once they can no longer continue to con people, the bottom's going to fall out in those situations. And it's a lot more companies that are like that than what people actually realize. Outside of, like you talked about, the Coca-Cola, those companies that got 100-year track records because they do an actual business.
Got you. So the key is to find those companies, and it's a lot more than we actually know, man. That's a great point, man. That's great game right there, because yeah, that's one of the things I got from you. You told me, look, man, there's a lot of bad run companies, and if you find them, you can make some money on them. But let's
it's
well, first
a lot of trash sheets.
Yeah.
No, it's a lot of trash sheets out there.
Yeah.
Like yeah, man. It's yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that. Dave got it right. There's a lot of trash sheets out there.
Man, listen, man, Dave is the king of the puts, man. But real quick, some from the audience though. Let's see what's going on. Says that he's heavy on VGT and VTI. It's about 90% of my holdings. Yeah, so you understand where I'm coming from. Let's see. From YouTube, Jakeem, what's going on, brother? How you? Respect. We got our brother Jose, who always checks in with us. He's here in the building. Jose, what's up, good brother? How you? All right, what else we got?
What's going on?
Yo, what's up, man? How you? Peace. Yeah, man. So let's talk about current events, man. So and for those just tuning in, right? We got Diamond Dave with us. He's an expert marketer. He's been on our podcast before telling his story. Soon I can get into his story, but we want to talk about marketing and how you can use that to your advantage to kind of generate some money. And for those watching, please do me a favor. Please hit the like button. It helps us fight the algos. Share this video. Just show us some love in that way. But Dave, with everything going on with the pandemic, with the election, I know folks are constantly being marketed to. What are some of the things we should be looking at in terms of how we're marketed to, and also how can we take advantage of this time, right? So we have this time where a lot of us are starting to work from home, but there's messages being like given to us on a daily basis. So what's your opinion on how we're being marketed to in 2020 with all the craziness?
I mean, I think and what they're doing is kind of consistent with what they've always been doing, is kind of keep people in the state of uncertainty and a state of fear. And it makes them a lot easier to kind of push them around. And then once they have that uncertainty and that fear, then they start looking to the people that they believe are in authority or have solutions to their problems to get those particular problems solved. But they're kind of going to be based on the solution that is given to you by those same people that caused the problem. So it's nothing really new going on. It's the same story over and over again, because we talked about when we did the first show, is like, this is really how you control masses of people. It's very difficult to control. I don't know how many people inside the United States. I think it's like a little under 300 million people. It's very difficult. So the techniques and the things that they have to do have to be very sophisticated, and they got to be multi-layered, or else you're going to lose control of this. And we're talking about losing control of probably one of the societies, especially if you talk about going down south, where you have the majority of people got personal firearms. So this is almost like a tinderbox that you're trying to deal with. So they have to be very sophisticated in rolling things out to control people and to get them to believe things that are going to push them back towards the power structure, as opposed to away from the power structure, and start trying to figure out how to become more empowered for themselves.
Okay, so in knowing that, right, and also being able to spot it, I know you call it like dark persuasion is what's going on. How does someone use that knowledge to then make themselves either themselves more marketable or create revenue for themselves and their family?
Okay, so what you can do is you can just ride the trend. So you see companies like Zoom, companies like Slack. These companies are riding the work from home trend, right? So they're positioned because, I've been using Zoom. I was using Zoom 4 or 5 years ago. I never was that impressed with their company, right? But because they're positioned for this particular time, they're now seen as a solution to this particular problem. So and I was telling somebody this before, COVID reminds me of 9/11. Whether or not you believe anything that happened as a result of whether or not you believe 9/11 was real or orchestrated, the results of 9/11 are real. So when you're looking at this COVID-19, start asking yourselves, is that what do you think are going to be the results of COVID-19, right? How is the power structure going to use this to roll out new ordinances, new rules and regulations, right? New ways of behavior. And then how can you position yourself to ride those particular trends? Because what they're going to do is they're going to use this to implement a lot of stuff, and there's not going to be any going back from it. So what we're going to do, especially if you're a younger person, is you're going to remember a time before all of this stuff, and then you're going to remember a time after it. Just like I remember a time before 9/11, I remember a time after 9/11. So just start asking yourselves, what are the new things that they're going to push forward as a result of COVID-19? And how can I position myself or my business to take advantage of this? Because there's nothing you're going to be able to do about it anyway, because they've already decided that they're going to implement these things.
Yeah, what's inherent in everything that you're saying, and it's making me think is, you got to get out your emotions, right? So a lot of these things that they do and things that are going on, our folks get caught up in their emotions instead of just taking a step back and moving off strategy. Because what you're talking about is moving off strategy. Take a step back and say, forget how you feel about it. What's going to happen, and how do I position myself? And I don't know about you, Core, but what I'm hearing is like, we got to get out our feelings and start dealing with the reality.
Yeah. So what he was talking about, and what something I talk about a lot too, is we got to stop being so like we easily impressed, and then we easily impressed, and we scare easy too, and that should drive me crazy. I can't even lie. It should just drive me nuts. We too easily impressed by stupid shit, and then we let things that seem scary, but when you look at them, we could take advantage of them, and then we just too scared to take advantage. Like a perfect example of that is Bitcoin. I've been telling people to buy Bitcoin for years, and they were scared to death because the government didn't approve of it. And then now the government owns 10% of all the Bitcoin that's made, and you still don't got none. And now they're gonna sell it to you at a premium, and you getting your ass kicked when you could have been the ass kicker. So I know exactly what he's talking about.
And for those watching, here's what I want you guys to in the comment section. Tell me some industries or things that you think will result from 2020 with the madness and COVID that you think you can make some money off of moving forward. I'd like to hear what you guys think. Things outside of Zoom, right? So we got. You got something yourself, Core?
I actually came on Dave's show. Dave had me on his podcast, and I told people this shit on his podcast. I said, wherever.
Hold on. Don't name anything. I want the audience to chime in before you start naming companies. I want to hear what our folks think that will be some of the things moving forward that are just be a part of our life that weren't there before. Because to Dave's point, right, there's a lot of things that happen post 9/11. Like when the world changes, it changes, and after a couple years, unless you sit back and think about it, you don't realize like, yo, it didn't used to be this way. You know what I mean? Exactly. So what are some of the things you guys think are coming through, man? Because that's what's important. So we got some more people checking in. Let's see real quick. Yeah, work from home. Absolutely. That's like a new reality, man. It's a lot of people that won't be going back to work. How about that? So I start to think about the real estate. That's what I think about. Like what happens in certain commercial real estate. Tay, what's going on? How you?
Yes, it's the new norm.
Yeah, it's the new norm. Yeah, it's for a lot of folks. How do you guys think a Biden presidency will impact the business world? So I'll let both of you brothers answer that. Dave, what is your answer to that question? Tay wants to know, Biden as president, how will that, if anything, impact the business world?
I mean, I don't think any president can be anti-business, right? Not in this particular era that we live in. Especially, I mean, Democrats get a lot of Wall Street money, right? So I don't think any president can survive if they're anti-business, because essentially America is a corporation. It's about doing business, and it's dominated by business forces. So the politicians are essentially dictated to by business. So I don't see how you can be president and be anti people doing business. So I think every president is going to be good for businesses. You just got to try to figure out what businesses are going to be best for this particular time period that this guy's in, based on what businesses have they influence over this guy. And he's going to create policy to open up the gate for them to do whatever kind of business that they want to do.
Yeah. And one thing I do want to say, which is interesting, is he can't unilaterally really do anything anyway. One of the things I saw the other day when it became apparent that he was going to run away with the election, and I was watching the business news, and they were saying that, the Republicans, still control the Senate or what have you. So they're saying it's going to be a lot of gridlock. And he said, Well, gridlock is good for business. And I'm like, that's crazy to say, but it's the truth, which is why the market over that day when the election was going crazy and we didn't have any answers, the market went up. This lock is good for business. So just want to put that out there.
What I see, our brother Jose, you can go ahead. All right. So things that are already have momentum, the president is not going to stop the momentum of those things. So you're talking about 5G, businesses built around blockchain, payment system businesses like Visa and MasterCard. Those kind of businesses are always going to make money in environments. If Biden becomes president, then you might get legalized marijuana, and so you can do the pick and shovel. Which companies around marijuana can make money, or you might just dive directly into the marijuana companies. What most people don't understand is that oil isn't going anywhere because a lot of the products that we use are made from oil. Even if we're not driving cars and using oil that way, a lot of the products we use are made by oil. So, oil might make a comeback because your boy Biden like fracking too. So it's not like Biden, don't like businesses.
Depends upon when you ask them. It depends upon when you ask them.
Yeah, it depends
So hold
upon
on though.
what the dementia's in.
So Jose says, start researching companies that develop security medical communities and those that collect data, the cloud. Yeah, so that's a good point. Here's another good one too, and I can personally vouch for this one. Anaya, what's up, Miss Parker? How you? Delivered groceries have definitely increased during this time. Also, back in the day, it was just Peapod, and now it's Amazon Fresh, Go Puff, DoorDash, etc. Listen, man, shouldn't say their name, but we've been like in this house, boy, we Instacarted out. Like Instacart is where, and until no, real talking, until this pandemic, I had never even used one of those services, but Instacart is where it's at, man.
Yeah, I still don't use.
That's definitely a good point. That,
but no,
right, so let's see what Don says real quick.
He said we're very emotional, huh?
We our emotions make it easy to take advantage of. And the funny thing, Don, is I think that like most humans are, but when you start to realize, and I know Dave may agree, but maybe disagree with it. When you start to understand what's going on and can control your emotions, it can be beneficial for you in business, right? It's literally like being in the Matrix, and when you come out of the Matrix and see what's going on around you, you can literally, your family will benefit from that. Would you agree with that, Dave?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we're all emotional, but like you said, is you got to try to have a control over them. So, one of my biggest challenges in my personal life is how can I control my emotional response to something? Because a lot of times we get conditioned that our emotional response has to be immediate to something. Well, sometimes if you can just let things kind of take things in and then try to, think about how you want to react to something based on the information that's in front of you. So that's something that I've really had to learn, is that don't just be so quick to respond to something and have a knee-jerk response. Kind of measure your response and kind of decide, well, how do I want to respond to this based on what's going on around me? But, we spend a lot of time being indoctrinated where we're being raised is that our response to something got to be immediate. And then, that becomes essentially the story of our life. So, yeah, you're right. You got to try to figure out how to control your emotional response to something.
Yeah, and I think that, we're talking business. I think that's key, right? So a lot of these things, like from a psychological standpoint, we don't think about when we think about business. Like we'll study accounting and, management, but we don't think about the psychology, right? Because you can lose yourself a lot of money. Listen, as someone that, is traded, that's the hardest part, is the emotional part. You know what I mean? So another got is businesses that are into get some government contracts.
Yeah.
Government contracts. It's like $100 billion in government contracts that get given out every year, that people, if you can scale your business, you can, you have to scale your business big enough to be able to get those contracts though. That's the part where we end up lacking a lot of times with those government contracts.
Environmental services. But I thought about this. Yeah, take out bars tonight. Good answer though. I thought about this when you asked the Biden question, right? So, I know that we come from a regime that was like anti-science, right? So, what opens up for people that are in environmental services businesses, assuming that we have a change in the guard? Here's another one here. Data, but especially health data storage. That is going to be huge. It's already huge. I'm always shocked when you look at some of these smaller companies, how many $1 million companies are in like the health data storage, right? It's a lot of companies. So what I wonder is, will they start like combining or getting gobbled up by the bigger companies?
Yeah.
You
They probably
know
will.
what I noticed about those health companies too? Is the data storage companies make a gang of money, but also the companies that do medical technology, like they build like prosthesis and stuff like that. Those companies do fucking amazing. Like if they the medical I don't know what they call it, those services, but all of those companies that do medical stuff and they build stuff like robotics and prosthesis and just specifically for medical stuff. Like I'm not talking about tech companies. I'm talking about medical tech companies. If you look at their sheets, they all make a ton of money, and they all like you could just pick five out of a hat and start and start your brokerage with them Jones, and you'll get amazing returns because year over year
But
you make amazing returns.
no, but that's what I'm saying. It's a lot of smaller companies like that. So my question is, moving forward, because even H1 is telemedicine, right? You see a lot of successful companies that are smaller in size, but I wonder, like, you want to move to a place where they start to merge, or you have the big boys just gobbling them up, or are we moving away from that? What do you guys think about the future of that? Sticking, like, we don't have to stick with the medicine, but a lot of these small companies that are making generous profits, are we going to move into I mean, we're already seeing it now with the big tech companies, the big boys, but they're being challenged by the politicians at this point.
They challenging each other because they don't want to give up control. Like, so each one of them is like they fighting with the government, and now they starting to infight amongst each other, which is actually good for us as regular consumers, because when the big boys fight, that drops prices down instead of up most of the time. And so that means as consumers that the American people normally turn out better when the big companies fight. But when they're
What do you
fighting,
think, Dave? Do you think?
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
You think we'll start seeing? Do you think we'll start seeing those companies come together or get gobbled up?
Yeah, I mean, I think with the tech companies, a lot of times, to me, there's a lot of times almost like an arrogance to not allow somebody to buy you out. But what you see, like the pharmaceutical companies and the other type of companies, the medical services companies, I think they're a lot more open to being bought out. And what one of the visitors have posted is that telemedicine, I think that's going to be big, because one of my biggest questions with telemedicine is, because I went to a doctor and they wanted to try to do like a telemedicine visit, is that because of HIPAA, how do they know that that particular visit is secure? So I would be looking at, how can you create a platform that we know that the particular information, because if I'm telling the doctor about what my medical situation is, essentially that information has to be protected by HIPAA. So it can't be available to the public. How do we know that that platform is secure, as opposed to something like this? We don't have to worry about the exchange of the information, which is really our data being secure on the platform. So I would look at, if I was a telemedicine company, how can we ensure that the information that is being presented back and forth between the patient and the doctor is secure, to where it doesn't get captured by somebody else, and then it can be used or leveraged against that particular person.
See, that's a great point. And that's an example. No, but that's an example of what we're talking about in terms of seeing what's going on around you and figuring out, what's going to happen. That's a great example of that. Core, what were you saying?
I said those companies are already moving toward that with blockchain.
Okay.
So that's how they're doing it. They're saying, all right, we're going to take this off of the regular internet, and we're going to put it on the blockchain where it's secure, where it got to be seen by 50 different computers, and then we'll verify it off of those. So, or the other way around, the other way is verified in crypto. So a lot of those companies are moving toward blockchain as a way of better security. Because of quantum computing, a lot of stuff won't get broken into too. Because now the computer is going to be able to think at a higher and faster pace, and so that means the data theft is going to happen at a higher level. Yeah. So what you're talking about is super real. You know what I mean? It's just you got to figure out how to protect it, and the blockchain is one of those places that companies are going.
What it sounds like to me, what both of you guys are saying is security, IT security is about to make some nice bank. So how do we take advantage of that? What companies should we be looking at for that? All right, so another comment from Don. Every store has those clear plastic windows up. I think more companies will turn W-2 workers into 1099 if they're working from home. That'd be interesting to see. Like, you've been working from home this long, like you're no longer a W-2. I wonder how that's going to work.
Yeah, that's real. That's real. Because companies are always trying to figure out how to get that payroll tax out of the way.
And that'll be an excellent way to do so. Good point, Don. Good point. I didn't even think about that. Let's see. Commercial buildings can become server hubs. You'll need more with folks at home. That's a good point, Wayne. Since this whole thing started, that's kind of like where my mind is been in terms of thinking about what happens with commercial real estate. Because as someone who looks at the data already, they were seeing like a change in how the space was used. Companies were already using less space because they had a specific amount of workers working from home. And one thing I could tell you about the Philadelphia market is a study I looked at. It said that most of the office space in the center city, Philadelphia, was used by law firms. There's so many huge law firms that had all this space. And over the last decade or so, their requirements for space were just decreasing and decreasing. And a lot of it was people working from home, but also in the past, they would rent out so many square feet for file cabinets. But they've hired companies to take all their information, data, paperwork, and everything, have it digitized and saved in the cloud. So just their need for space was already changing. And now with this, you're forced to have a whole other set of workers working from home. You're going to need less space. So now how do we reuse space in a city, an environment? And I think what you're saying is absolutely true. So with so many people working from home, you will need server hubs, but there's so much commercial space. What happens to the shopping centers, right? People are ordering from home. So do they become like Amazon warehouse? So that's just going to be interesting to me. Do you guys have any opinions on commercial real estate moving forward?
I mean, I think Walmart and Target and those kind of stores are going to try to move into that space too, because they don't like Amazon having that much control. Like, 40% of all online purchases happening on Amazon. Yeah. So people want, they're fighting for that space. Wally World, like, yo, we was here first. So they try and get involved, and Target ain't far behind Wally World. So they all fighting in that same space. Then you got your Etsy's and your Lululemons and all of those kind of, what I mean? So all of that space, they're gonna need distribution centers. Huh?
You said you mean Lululemon? You trying to say Lululemon?
Whatever, I don't know. Lululemon or whatever they do. Like, whatever, I don't know. I don't use their services. I'm looking at the so, but all of those companies are going to need they're going to want to be closer to their customers so that they can deliver faster. And so what they're going to start to do is buy commercial spaces near big residential areas so that they can get out to those people faster. And so that's what happened to the commercial space.
I ordered something from Amazon this morning at about 10 a.m. By 3 p.m. it was already at the crib. And I wasn't even expecting. I didn't even realize they were like doing the same day. They just like, without even did the same day. I was like, yo, that's ill. But what I noticed is, like, I've watched a couple of Jeff Bezos interviews. And one of the things that he says within his interviews, which is interesting to me, he doesn't consider Amazon an e-commerce company. He said, we're a logistics company. And that's where they invest and focus on so much. And that's why it's going to be difficult. But at the same time, like, Walmart has the brand cachet for the people that shop there and the location. So maybe they will get into those spaces. But they're spaces that they traditionally haven't been in. When you talk about centers like central business districts and downtown cities, that's where it's going to be a lot of vacancy. Right now, Target, they've already started doing there. They have one in Philadelphia. Like, their headquarters, as a matter of fact, like if you go to their headquarters in Minneapolis, it's right in the central business district. So they've already kind of like mastered that, but it'll be a lot of empty space there. So I'm just interested to see how commercial real estate will be used. And as an investor, how do you take advantage of that, right? Or you start to look at certain REITs like digital realty is one that does like kind of what Wayne was saying with server hubs, and their stock has been on fire. All right, let's see. Don, I can see physical banks closing more locations. How often do you have to go into the brick and mortar bank these days? Don, man, let me tell you about this, man. I'm about 60% of the way from being bankless. And I know that sounds crazy, but I'm all on the blockchain right now, good brother. I'm working my way towards being completely bankless. So I don't need them at all. But with that being said, that's a great point, because a lot of the banks in I keep talking about Philadelphia because that's where we are. They never opened back up from like the rioting. They just stayed closed.
Damn.
They probably weren't needed anyway. You know what I'm saying? They probably weren't needed anyway.
So what are people doing? Just going to the
But I want y'all to
drive through the ATM?
The drive-through ATM, so they have some of those open,
Okay.
the drive-through ATM, and now mobile banking. There's a lot of mobile banking
Okay.
going on. So when I think about that, and then you look at the results that came out this week from Square. Square is a company, right? Square is almost like, damn near a bank.
The other thing I've seen is that the banks have started to move it into shopping centers, right? So you'll find your bank and your groceries in the same spot. If you go to get your groceries, you can go to the bank, get your groceries. So they started combining space. So that's the other thing that I've seen where they started to pare down. They started to combine space, and so that both businesses can benefit. So I've seen
that's an excellent point, right? Because that's something else that I've seen happen in the central business district, where not just that, but what they started doing with these buildings is they started making them multi-purpose buildings overall. So you'll have like residential on floor 20 all the way down to 10. Then there's like office space. Then there's a shopping center at the bottom, and they're building buildings that way. So like if you live there and work there, you literally never have to leave your building. Like, so a lot of that's going on. That's what they did with the Curtis Center in downtown Philadelphia. The building at Broughton, Washington is like, so there's a couple buildings like that. That's what they're doing. Wireless infrastructure is something that Adrian says something we should be looking at based upon what's going on. Let's see what else we have here. Man, you guys are killing it with the comments. Wayne also says Biden is an old school politician. He can deal with Republicans. He knows where the bodies are buried. Watch the horse trading with Biden as president.
Yeah, definitely.
Medical. Yeah, absolutely. He's a career politician. Medical equipment vendors. Yeah, and so we also got, great point, Dave. It could be a privacy HIPAA breach, but a consent can be signed. Yeah. So if someone can figure out how to, I don't want to say guarantee, but make it more secure. And it's always like the riches are in the niches. So if you run a service like a Zoom or something like that, but you specialize in medicine and you can guarantee a certain level of security, you'll have a lot of people picking that up. Like a lot of healthcare companies and things picking that up. If that's what you're doing, you're focusing strictly on that.
It's just on that. Yeah, because the reason why I thought about that is because years ago when they started talking about putting data in the cloud, I knew a lot of people that worked in the legal space that was worried about that because they didn't want their clients' information stolen from the cloud. So they didn't want to move from the old school file cabinets where they got everything under lock and key because they worried about, if I put this info in the cloud, lawyers is always trying to get dirt on other clients because they can use that in court. So they worried that it might be some type of hacking going on. They pulled my client's information off the cloud and then they try to use that against us in court. So that's what I thought about that. We start talking about the medical space with HIPAA being so important. How do you secure that information to where a person is comfortable talking about the information over the computer, knowing that there's so much theft going on online, especially if you're using your mobile device?
Yeah, excellent point. Excellent point. So let's see what else we got here. Also, there's software already built in with a secure system. Yeah, true. That's facts. Let me see. Going to see a lot of Ethereum contracts and secure transactions.
Yeah.
Man, listen, man. The way I look at it, Jose, like with all these like different DeFi projects and things of nature, just own the Ethereum. And that's not investment advice, by the way. My doctor uses doxy.me. So is that something, Dahlia, is that something that's specific to that space? Is it similar to Zoom? Is it I'm not familiar with doxy.me. You guys ever heard of that?
No, I never heard of it.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
unfamiliar, but
All right, so you put us down with
not
something.
saying it's probably $1 billion
Exactly.
company. Just because I haven't heard of it, it's like a $70 billion company.
In medicine is always like that. In medicine and pharmaceuticals, cause companies be making billions, and you like, no knows. Listen, that's why that's to be an executive at a pharmaceutical. Although you're a legalized drug dealer, no one knows.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Doc, I wonder what Doxy.me is now, because now I want to do research. Are they private? Like, what's going on with them, man? IT security career is huge. Listen, I think it'll be like, that's what I'm thinking about. Maybe more huge moving in the future, man. More companies like Peloton. Listen, man, Peloton is an interesting company, and I actually own a Peloton, and it's actually been one of my better purchases. But watching their ascension, I listened to their call the other day, and they can't even keep up. They can't keep up with demand. That's how crazy it is for them now. A lot of folks aren't going back to the gym. Period. No more.
So let me ask you a question about Peloton, because I was very bearish on them when they came out. How long do you think you're going to continue to use the bike that you bought from them? And do you think that they have branding enough to make you stay with that company? Because I don't see where they have a moat around what they do to where nobody can enter into that space and do the same thing that they're doing.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, I remember your post about that, right? So I got the tread. I don't have the bike. I got the tread.
The tread, okay.
But what I will say is, what I understand about Peloton now, because that's the one fund. Like, me and my wife have like a combined fund where we buy stuff. So we do own Peloton in there. And the Peloton that we bought actually, at this point, paid for the treadmill. But with that being said, they have done the great job of building a community and marketing the people, their teachers. So it's almost like, to be honest with you, it's damn like a cult. If you talk to anyone that's got a Peloton, no one will tell you anything negative about it, because they've done a great job of building that. It's almost like Apple, right? Their business, they're really not even in the fitness equipment business. They're in the monthly subscription business.
Yeah.
So that's where they make their money. They make their money with the subscriptions, and people will continue to pay because they continuously add classes. They actually do a great job of marketing their instructors, and they have built a complete community full of, like, they'll do stuff like, and it sounds crazy, but it does wonders for marketing. Like, randomly, I'll like get a T-shirt in the mail, like, congratulations, you have 100 runs or something like that, and they'll send you like swag and stuff like that. But it makes something you can laugh at. But what it does is it builds a community. You go on the social media and you look at those hashtags and those things. So they've done a great job with that. So it's similar to Apple that way, right? I can make the argument that technologically wise, Apple has an inferior product to multiple companies. But what they have is that brand cachet, to the point where when people buy other things, like things that were out before, Nordic Track or something, people are like, well, they ain't no Peloton. Like, they have that brand cachet. So we'll see how it works. But that's kind of what I think about them long term.
Okay. Because I felt like COVID saved that company because people had to leave the gym.
That's possible though.
Yeah. So I just want to see 4 or 5 years down the road, because like you said, is that one of the CEO came out and said that we're not a fitness company, we're really a media company. And I understand the whole subscription play because I come out of the direct response space. So I get that. And I get the fact that they make you buy high ticket just to get in the door with them. Just trying to figure out, and you just explained it, they have the ability to create stickiness because they really building a relationship with you in the community, to where it's not just you sold me a product and I just work out. I want to stay in the community because I want to stay stuck to what's going on on the side.
In the space of selling machines, they're selling culture.
Exactly.
They're not selling machines, they're selling culture.
Yeah. So that's good. That's good.
The machine is just the gateway to get to the culture.
Exactly.
So
I like that.
Yeah.
They're not selling.
Absolutely.
They're not selling machines. They're selling a machine. The machine is the cost to get in the building.
Yeah.
To get to the culture. So that's what they're.
And that's the crazy part. And it's like, you talk to someone, boy, it's damn near like a cult, man. I'm not even lying. It's weird, man.
I mean, but, that's how you got to do it, though.
It's the Apple model. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. All these old closed down Kmart, Sears, Toys R Us will become Amazon mall warehouses. Yeah,
that's true.
Let me see. Square's his moneymaker. Yeah,
Square and
Square's been on fire, man.
What's the crypto joint that everybody use? Those gonna be the two new big banks. All those other banks gonna become little banks. Gonna be big bank take little bank.
Coinbase.
Yeah, Coinbase, Square, and Coinbase.
Yeah.
Listen, man, don't mess with the cabal, man. Do not put that out there. They will find a way to buy Square or Coinbase. Listen, man, banks never lose. Let's put it that way. It's the greatest business ever. That's been the way in China for a while now. They build tower cities with multiple use functions all contained within. Yeah, so that's kind of where we're moving to. At least in the big cities that I've visited in looking at property. Teladoc uses the same tech used in Zoom to secure end-to-end telecommunications.
That doesn't make me feel good because Zoom get bombed all the time.
Yeah, Zoom bombing is crazy. They grew a code for, yeah, he said the same thing I said, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so she says that Teladoc, Maven Clinic, there are so many doctor on demand. Okay, that's interesting. That's good to know. Peloton commercial is good. Makes you want to be a part of the family. Listen, man, once you try that thing though, shout out to the legend, man. And Antonio's in the comments as well.
What's going on?
Peloton is almost getting to a ubiquitous status. So when you think of spin cycles, you say you get into Peloton, man, that's a great point. And marketing guy on to talk about it. When you get a product that gets to that point, you know, like you got Clorox, or, you know,
yeah.
Peloton. It's like a verb.
I mean, Uber and Square is almost like that. Like, yo, I'm an Uber here, I'm an Uber there. It's a verb.
No, Uber's a verb already.
Yeah.
Uber's a verb. When you become a verb, you just you got it. You own the market.
All right, so here are some more comments. Jose says, watch out for Tempo because they do the same subscription service as Peloton, as does Mirror. I've heard of both of those, but it's just not the same, man. It ain't the same, man. You know, do them shits even got levers? Let's see. Mark says, COVID is the best thing could have happened to Peloton. Yeah, I mean, I agree with that too. And that's just someone who has one. I agree 1,000% because now, because of COVID, like they have a backlog. Like I said, we have the tread, and my wife loves it so much. I was going to get the bike as well. And you call them, and they like, "Yo, we get to you like in April." Like, yo, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean? Like, it's nuts. But that's what it is, man. They're selling the experience like Starbucks. You can buy coffee anywhere.
Yeah, but see, okay, now, let me ask another question because about the fitness space. A lot of times people join fitness and they drop out. So what are they doing to make it to where people don't drop out? Because what makes a fitness niche such a valuable niche is people never leave, but they always trying to do something different.
So
for me,
I'll tell you what they do.
Okay.
As a teacher, right, and somebody who does this to kids all the time, they give you a lollipop. They give you a sticker. Okay. They say, hey, you've done so well, you know, I'm gonna give you some extra points on your quiz for being quiet, or I'm gonna give you an extra, I'm gonna give you an extra 2 points on your test, or I'm gonna give you a lollipop for answering the question in class. Like that's the kind of stuff they do, right? Okay. They play on your kiddie emotions.
Okay.
To keep you hooked in.
That's part of it, right? So that's definitely part. They have like weekly challenges. They have competitions where like they market their actual instructors, and they'll do something once in a blue where they'll have like, oh, okay, you join team this person, team that person, and they'll like total up your which team workout. It's all kinds of psychology being played. If you do your best time, for instance, on a treadmill, or even on a bike, you do your best time, you get a sticker for it. So now people are collecting stickers, which is a thing that comes with hashtags. So they use social media brilliantly. That's the one thing. They give the stickers, but also like so, and that was one of the problems I had. And I paid for gyms. That's actually how I talked myself into buying one. I'm like, I spend the same amount of money it's gonna cost me on a monthly basis for a gym, but I don't use it. But since getting the Peloton, as of right now, today was my like 137th day consecutively using it. So for me, that's like a record. You know, I got like damn near a 40-week streak of using it. And and I saw results. Like I'm down about 60 pounds since the beginning of this year. And with that being said, they do an excellent job. So like now, before I had the day streak, I had a week streak. If it was getting to close to the end of the week, they will email you like, yo, you don't want to mess up on your streak. You got to get out there and do it. So that whole sense of community is something that they specialize in. So, and that's just like from the inside out. I could tell you that's what they do. But real quick though, Malik says, Corey, man, he can't get used to seeing you inside of a crib, man. You're not usually in the building.
I'm going back to the car. That's the third time somebody done said something about me being
inside.
That's
what's crazy about that, man. Yeah, it's definitely a weight, man. Yeah, but it's funny though, because like again, one of the things, man, you guys gotta follow Dave on Facebook and as well as IG, because Dave be giving me game, man. Dave be getting me out of the matrix, right? Because I know because I follow Dave and I follow his dark persuasion thing. I kind of understand that they're being marketed to. Like I know what they're doing, right? So now instead of me just falling for it, like I still fall for it, but I know what's being done. Like Antonio says, behavior modification in gaming. Yeah. So I'm pretty sure they invested a lot on that, man. So you appreciate that, Mark. Appreciate that, bro.
Yeah, I would want to listen to their earnings call and hear what their attrition rate is, or their turnover. That's the number I want to get from them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, they think gaming will be a lot bigger since people are at home. Gaming, man, it still amazes me. I have a nephew, and he is totally into gaming. Like, and it's weird to me, right? As someone who grew up loving football and basketball, he don't even care about that. But he can tell you everything about the top gamers, what squads they on, when they here, when they there, and he talks about it like it's a sport.
I forgot to mention that.
That's his thing.
We forgot to mention that when we were talking about industries that are about to go boom. Lord, they about to go big boom.
Yeah, and hear him talk about these things is like it's similar to how I would talk about basketball. Like, but he's talking about cats playing video games. I'm like, what? This is mind-boggling.
That's all. They was in the same space. They be on the same things. They be Twitter. They friends, so they do a lot of the same stuff.
I know. They talk to each other. Yeah. So that's why I'm like, it's weird, but it's actually a thing. And so how do we monetize that? Because that is the future, right? So that's something else to think about. That's another space that we need to be thinking about, right? So, and that's bring us up after I read this comment. Give you a sense of community at home. I hate going to the gym because by the time I get dressed and ready to go, I lose interest in traveling to the gym. When I work out at home with tapes, it doesn't feel genuine. I think I'm going to get one. No, they definitely give you that sense of community though. Yeah, or YouTube. So yeah, man. So it's like you got that space is going to be so huge, and it's something that we need to think about. Like, how do we monetize that space? So one of the things I saw the other day, the brother from the Shark Tank, Mr. Wonderful, he was saying that, and I posted this clip on our Instagram page because what he said was, business will always go on, but this is just an opportunity for like old school businesses and their models just to die. He said our government is so focused on trying to save companies that are just going to die anyway. Like even if you pump money into them, they're going to die. We need to be looking at those companies that are the future. And that's kind of what this conversation is about. And you're constantly being marketed to. So pay attention to how you're being marketed to and what's being marketed to you. And you can make some money on that, man. Like, that's why I said, man, you got to listen. Dave be dropping gems. Like he just said, Antonio said it. Dave was a diamond dropper.
Listen, man, Dave did a call with us right before COVID that basically helped us get our business off the ground.
Yeah,
man.
He definitely.
I can market. Dave definitely helped our business grow. Great info, absolutely, man. So here's something else. Eventually, Peloton will have to evolve. Working out is about progression and constantly changing yourself. I wouldn't be surprised to see Peloton term gym soon. What I was thinking about with Peloton is I wonder if like long term they become acquisition for somebody else, like one of the big tech companies.
Man, I think they're going
because they got tons of data.
I think they're going to become more like a gaming, like an e-gaming joint. Like, where they do challenges and stuff. They already doing that kind of stuff. I think they might move toward that arena and say, you know, and
I see.
and turn it into like a, you know, like Pokemon world where everybody is, you know, virtually racing against each other in some kind of like world challenge, like a virtual Olympics. Like I think that's
But they do that already. They already do that.
But I think they're going to.
So my thing is
to another space.
My thing is, I think they're an acquisition target because of the data they have is valuable. And I see Apple trying to get into the space, but I would be, but their whole cachet with like top of the line products, that to me made like a marriage between those two companies makes sense. But a lot of times when people see that, like a Google or an Amazon or even a Facebook, imagine if, like, you know, they're already connected to Facebook. You can connect your Facebook account to your Peloton account, and all your friends on Facebook, y'all can like do challenges and stuff like that. So, I mean, I see them as an acquisition target, but we'll see how it plays out long term. Malik says Hero. Do you guys know about that? Something that, you know, that's something that you
I don't know about it.
What's Hero, Malik? Let us know about that. Let's see. One of my best performance stocks aside from guns is gaming. Guns and gaming.
Right.
Adrian, what kind of returns are you getting on guns, right? So, and shout out to Malik. I saw Malik put something up the day before the election. Like, should we be looking into, looking at these gun stocks again?
The answer to that is yes.
Yes, exactly.
It's a natural acquisition. I thought, all right. Wayne says that Amazon has the Dota by Peloton. Yeah. So a lot of those big companies, man, are sitting on stacks.
Yeah, all of the big five got a cachet. They got a stack of bread that's taller than humans can visualize.
But see, Amazon is amazing because Amazon has the ability to purchase a company, let it run independently and do its thing, which made it an acquisition target to begin with. A lot of companies can't do that. A lot of companies are terrible at acquisitions. You know, go to Dave's point about when you start to study companies, and you know, a lot of them are terrible. I'll give an example of a company that's been around forever, makes money hand over fist. Like, I don't know if people noticed, but McDonald's at one point controlled and owned Chipotle.
Okay.
And they tried to integrate too much instead of letting them run their thing. And it got to the point where McDonald's said, listen, we got to let them go because we're spending so much time trying to focus on how to grow that we're messing up our core business. They let Chipotle go, you know, because they own the majority of the shares, let it go. And Chipotle took off to the point now they're one of their competitors. And I'm only bringing that up because that's just a quick example in business history in terms of companies not being great at acquiring other companies and letting them run independent. Amazon does an amazing job at that. When you look at their acquisition of Audible, acquisition of Apple's, I mean, they got so many acquisitions I could name where they still let them just go do your thing. We own you, you know, Amazon company, but we're not trying to just like, you know. Antonio brings up same true with eBay and PayPal. Oh, here's what Hero is right here. It's a gaming ETF. So it's an ETF. Okay, I'm gonna look that up. That's a good stuff, Malik. I'm gonna look that up. See what companies are in there. Don says right. Guns and butter. Yeah, you already know. Yeah, Mark. That's a true story, man. Like, absolutely true story. And to your point right here, Antonio, about eBay and PayPal. Remember they tried to come together? It just didn't work. Independently, they work, but together that didn't work. And they seem like a match made in heaven. But yeah, man. So getting back to everything going on, we already talked about the election. So let me ask you this question, Dave. So what do you think about what's going on currently in the crypto space, right? So crypto is getting back to that point, and is it going to be like before where it's gotten to that point and now the people will try to jump, which makes no sense, by the way. You ignored it when it was 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all the way to 10, but now you see it at 15. Now you're going to pump a bunch of money into it. Do you see that happening?
So when you ask me about crypto, are you asking me from a trader or from a user, as far as my perspective?
Give me both. What do you think about as a trader as well as a user?
Okay, so as a trader, I never really kind of understood the trading fundamentals of crypto, which is why I have never got into it from a trading standpoint. As a user, what I'm looking for is just to try to figure out when are we going to get a little bit more mass adoption So it can be utilized a lot more because I think that's really what's going to raise the value of it. And we're talking about things like Ethereum and things of that nature. I think Ethereum is part of the blockchain, but I think because of this new era that we're going into, where we're going to start getting rid of actual physical currency, I think we're going to start seeing more of the adoption. And we were talking about before is that I think a lot of it's going to be forced by the government. So what I had always been waiting for is what is going to bring about the adoption of the crypto as opposed to just trading it back and forth.
All right. So what do you think about what's going to happen like right now with the psychology of people, right? So we know how people act psychologically when it comes to these markets, and people were down on it, but now it's starting to creep its way up. And I see more people talking about it and jumping in. I just wonder, do you think it's going to they're going to pump it again just to have it like the bubble pop again? Because people don't want to miss out. That FOMO is real, man. Like FOMO is one of the realest things, man. I think we all fight it to some degree.
Yeah, I mean, but we've seen this happen before because I think around 17, 18, it was really, really crazy. So if people feel like, okay, I'm missing out on this rise in crypto and there's a lot of returns that I can get, a lot of gains that I can get, of course they're going to run into it and then it's going to come back down. And I mean, that happens pretty much in every asset class, is that if people feel like I'm missing out on the rise of this asset class, they run in. But a lot of times when you're chasing it, you don't never know where the top is at. So a lot of times you get in at the top and then they bust that bubble and then it just falls down. So it can definitely happen again because we know that it happened before. Because I know, and I think y'all had a guy on your show, I think he said he sold 1 Bitcoin. So we know that this has already happened before. So we can just pretty much assume it's going to happen again.
Yeah, that psychology is crazy. How that works, man. Like FOMO is the craziest thing. It's so real. Let's see, we got a comment here about the Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin's gonna be like 30K, 40K. I hope so. Yeah. Listen, I absolutely hope so.
I think that's in the next few months. Like I think,
damn, that's cool.
Yeah, man, because of I think it's going to get that push that Dave was just talking about. The fear of missing out, the FOMO going to hit again. That's how it went to 20,000 in early 2018.
Yeah.
The first
but 40K is a lot, dog. 40K is an absolute lot. Right now, before we came on, it was close to 16.
I think it goes to 100. I think it can go to 100.
Easy.
Long term, yeah. Long term, yeah.
No, I mean short term. I think it can go to 100.
Okay.
Yeah. It's crazy. And then you got all these big corporations buying in. It's going to shoot the price out the roof.
Yeah, but I know it. Like, and by the way, real quick, I got to put this out there. This is not investment advice, but what I feel like is once it starts to get that, it gets over 2025. I think you have a lot of whales like taking profits off the table, which will make it drop. Like it'll happen like it did last. I think eventually it'll get there, but it's going to have to go. It's going to have a couple more like rises and big drops, and big drops. Okay. Like yeah, because people are going to be taking that. People, I'm one of them. Listen, I'm gonna cash out. Like I'm gonna get my bread out and then sit back and wait like I did last time.
Okay, but wait, at what number would you exit once you see it rising up? Where you think you gonna? And I ain't trying to get all in your business, but where you think you see you're making your exit?
No, honestly, what I'm thinking about, and it's funny, I've been thinking about this lately. I feel like if it starts to approach 20 again, I'm just going to sell like so. I got a couple. I'm gonna sell half of a coin. I'm gonna sell enough where if I leave some in, I won't lose any money. I got my base back out. So. You know what I mean? I'll sell half a coin, and because the thing is, you don't have to buy and sell a whole coin at a time. Like you can sell satoshis. I'll take and take my base out in that way. Whatever happens. But I just think it's interesting to watch the psychology because the way people buy assets, and it's not just crypto, it's all of them. It's always weird to me. Like if you believe in something, you believe in something. But that psychology is crazy because I won't buy it when it's 3, but I'm gonna buy it when it's 16. Like, is it the same people like that told me, "Oh, I ain't buying that. It's all the way down to 3. It was at 20. I ain't never buying that." But now it's at 16, and you're in your timeline talking about, "Yo, I want it." You wanted at 16, but you didn't want it.
But they see everybody else doing it. So one thing we know that most people given free will, they figure out what to do by watching what somebody else is doing. Especially now with social media and all this stuff, you know what other people are doing. And that influences your behavior if you don't really know how to govern your behavior. We talked about before, governing your emotions. So once the word gets out that everybody's moving in crypto, then that means that's the thing to do.
Yeah, that's facts.
So
That's facts, man. That's a
Jose
good
put
point.
the top 10 holdings for
Yeah,
Hero.
well, that's dope. It only has
That's
41
41
holdings. I like ETS with a small amount of holdings.
So the top
Here's
10.
the top 10.
I have something different for the top 10 from ETF database, but so I have
Ubisoft, Embracer Group, Nexon, Capcom, Activision, Nintendo, Nvidia.
Nvidia, NetEase, Capcom, and then the top 15 has Zynga and Take Two Interactive. So they got all the big boy American companies and all of the game makers and stuff in there. So they getting busy. That's a nice joint, but it's only got like 150,000 volume a day.
Yeah, that's a
I
low
wonder what's the
volume.
expense ratio. If you got that, what's the expense ratio?
I can look at the expense ratio.
Dog, you ain't never lie. Yo, resurging FOMO like a mud. Listen, I'm telling you. I mean, and I know it could be it just could be my echo chamber, but on my timeline, it's crazy. I'm like, yo, you didn't want it when it was 3, 4, 5, like even into the 10s, 11s, you didn't want it, but you wanted it at 16, huh? Because of the volatility, will Bitcoin ever be used as the true currency? I think long term that volatility stops. Like, I don't think it will always remain as volatile as it is once they're all mined. I think a lot of that's going to slow down. I mean, hold up, let me see. Shout out to our brother right here, Deshaun. Deshaun was the most recent guest on our podcast. My man schooled me and put me down with some bread. Like, and I salute everybody to help me make bread because it's all about community. He set me up between him, Rich, what I'm saying, and Russ got me set up on Celsius. You know what I mean? So I'm getting bread on my crypto now, but he says major corporate interests are waiting for 40K Bitcoin before they come into the space. So when his 40K, I think a lot of them will jump into the space, man.
The expense ratio on Hero is 0.5.
Damn, that's high. Antonio, yes, once banks have the regulations in place, it'll become a secure and less volatile currency. Yeah, that's true. Walk into a crowded area. Start to point up at the sky. Soon someone else will look up. Soon after a crowd will be looking up. That's FOMO. That's facts.
That's all facts.
And Daya was too. Daya says Bitcoin is more than currency platform. That's an excellent point. Yep. And it's one of the reasons why, to be honest with you, I'm more bullish on Ethereum. To me, Ether has already shown its use cases and talk about being a platform. To me, I know this is like a false equivalency, but it's the way I think about it. I think of, you look at a lot of these DeFi projects, right? That run ERC, and they all are built on Ethereum. And some are winners, some are losers, some are shitcoins, some are dogs, but all of them contribute to making Ethereum bigger. Yeah. And I think about the regular stock market, and I think about the S&P 500 versus like all these people, the people who try to chase the companies that go in and out of the S&P. And I listen to all the long-term investors, all the old school guys. And a lot of times they'll tell you one thing, but when you start to study what they do, a lot of these time guys that run hedge funds and their personal money, they just park it in the S&P and let it ride and keep selling you like, all the craziness while they park their money in the S&P. And Tony Robbins is an excellent book where he interviews a lot of big time investors. It's the Money Master Game or something like that. But a lot of those guys just park their money in the S&P. Yeah, Money Master the Game. A lot of them dudes park their money in the S&P, and I kind of like equate Ethereum to the S&P, right? So all those little small projects that come off Ethereum, like some will blow up, they'll go away, and vice versa. But if I just own the Ether, that's just the way I look at it. If I just own the Ether, what do I care? So I look at the Ether similar to being like, VU or one of those S&P funds. Remember, we have always used digital currency. Debit cards are an example. Wire transfers. This is just secure money. ACAMs are through the roof.
Scam.
Yeah, man.
She meant scams because I know I type like that too.
Yeah. And that is the point too. That's why it always amazes me when you talk to someone like, I'm not doing that digital. I'm like, yeah, but you use a credit card. Like,
you use a credit card.
I remember I had an aunt tell me like, I ain't shopping online. They can steal your credit card info. I'm like, well, you use your credit card in the store. They run it the same way. Like, yeah, I can't tell you, like, but sometimes people are slow to adopt, man. Funny ish. I'll be in my financial services class talking on the discussion board, sounding like a guru because of these chats. Oh man, appreciate that, Jose. That's what's up, man. That's what's up, bro. Listen, man, it's not even us, dog. I'm telling you, our community is fire. Like y'all be like, it's all about these comments, man. Y'all be coming with the fire. Like Antonio right here. ETH is the real platform. That's where I went heavy. There's a book. It's called Cryptocurrency Millionaire. As a very simple title. I think it's called Cryptocurrency Millionaire, but it's about a guy, and not to be confused with Crypto Billionaire, because that's also a book, the Winklevoss twins. It's a cryptocurrency billionaire book. It's about an everyday guy who saw what was going on in blockchain and cryptocurrency, and he just took out money from his crib, took out his retirement funds, and dropped it all in Ether when Ether was something like $4, and became a millionaire. But it's his whole story, and it's just crazy to read because that was before it hit 2,000 and came back down. But right now, what's Ether trading at, Corey? It's about 4 and some change.
It's like 420 or something like that. That's the last time I looked.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's kind of like where I'm thinking of. I'm thinking Ether is the real play here, especially like if anyone out there who's listening, like if any of you guys have swapped out, like use Uniswap or something. When you get charged gas, though, they're killing you, which is why
Ether is
you get that crypto
464.30.
Crazy. That's insane.
Yo,
These
like,
probably bro. Yo, yeah. Insane.
Yeah, it's
460.
Nuts. And Bitcoin 15,645.
Yeah. Yeah. And I remember watching documentaries on Bitcoin, and it was like a few dollars. This was like 10 years ago. And I was like, I don't even understand. Because I was watching documentaries on guy that was building like mining operations. And I didn't really get it because nobody around me was talking about Bitcoin. So I'm just watching documentaries on Hulu, and these guys building mining operations for Bitcoin. So it just goes to show you that some people was just so far ahead of the curve. Because I read something today about the guy that used to own Silk Road, and they found some Bitcoin that they thought he had hidden, but really it was stolen from him. At the time of they arrested him, Bitcoin was like a few $100s. So it was all this Bitcoin that was stolen from him that the Fed seized, but now Bitcoin is worth thousands of dollars. So it just goes to show you that a lot of people were so far ahead of the curve on that. And because it was something that a lot of us really weren't talking about, we was kind of behind the 8 ball. That's why I'm a proponent of just getting it out there, because I really think Bitcoin is going to go past 50,000 up to 100,000.
Yeah, I'm a proponent of talking about it with our community, because one of the things that I mention this all the time, these transfers of wealth. I've seen it in real estate. I've seen it in the stock market. I've seen it in precious metals. It's like now we have a whole other one getting ready to pass us by again, right? I've seen I've seen it. Like I've seen it happen to our people time and time again. So I just want, like, I'm not an expert, but I like to talk to the experts, like Deshaun. You know what I'm saying? Like Russ. I like to talk to them and pick their brain, because I just want more of our people to understand what's going to happen to them. Corey mentioned something earlier. We talked about like the future companies. Anytime I talk to people that are like heavy in business, all they're talking about is blockchain, AI, electric vehicles. It's like these things are coming. So
stuff like that, yeah, man.
IoT, all that stuff in the future. So we need to be. And Don, you got the Black Wealth is Black hoodie. Make sure you pick when you get it, bro. Like, we appreciate the support, man. All the support, man. So here's a question about Litecoin, right? So Mark, I'll be completely transparent with you. I do own some Litecoin that I was just sitting on since I had it. I haven't bought any, and I don't think I'm going to buy any, because first of all, Charlie Lee is a gentleman, I believe his name is.
Yep.
He sold all his, which is the guy who runs the project. Now I understand his logic in saying he was selling it because he didn't want the community to feel like he was doing it just for the pump. But when I invest in regular companies, I like to have a CEO or founder that's invested. Like, that right there rubbed me the wrong way. But also, I just don't see the use case for it anymore. When it first came out, it moved a lot faster than Bitcoin, right? It moved extremely faster than Bitcoin. And to be honest with you, I told Corey at the time, I was like, yo, in using this, I like Litecoin better because Bitcoin is
It's the better
simple.
project. It was the better project at the time because
But
Bitcoin went on faster scale.
But now they have the Lightning Network on the Bitcoin Lightning Network is one thing, and I test things to see how fast it is. To me, Stellar moves a lot faster now. Stellar's moves a lot faster, and might be the better project. And Stellar is actually what 7 cent, 20 cents, something like that. You know what I mean? But that's my personal opinion on Litecoin. I'm not gonna sell what I have just in case, you never know. But I'm just sitting on it. Let's see right here. You should be in pro. Yo, Deshaun, I didn't enter yesterday. I had just sent you the message yesterday. I entered the day you sent me the link and everything to enter. So I'm definitely in profit yesterday. I moved a bunch of USDC and what was it? True GDP is what I moved over there. The one that's tied to the British pound. It's a stable coin. So what he's talking about is the Celsius network that pays you for staking your stable coins. So I had stable coins that were just sitting in my wallet. He was saying like, yo, what are you doing? I'm like, what do you mean what I'm doing? He said, listen, you're missing out on money. He put me down with Celsius. Now I'm making like, over 10% for my money for the coin just sitting there when it was already sitting in another wallet. So 10%, and that's without doing anything, lifting a finger at all. And that's kind of some of the stuff that's being done now, man, which is absolutely fire. And I appreciate you for that, Deshaun. So, Jose says BTC is what gold is now. Foundational, but barely used on its own. Yeah, good point. I don't think gold is going anywhere either, though, good brother.
If the Bitcoin market cap reaches the gold market cap, Bitcoin is going to be $1 million a coin.
Yeah.
He said he read about that as well. Yeah.
But let me ask y'all, what coin do y'all think is going to be used to facilitate transactions? Because we start talking about money. The only reason people use money is because they've been taught we got to use it to facilitate transactions. So what coin is a lot of different coins? What do you think is going to be the main coin?
Bitcoin. So what will happen is you'll find a coin, but all the coins are going to be pegged to Bitcoin.
Okay.
Like
you think so?
The US used to peg to the gold standard. I think
yeah.
it pegged to the Bitcoin standard.
Okay,
I've seen an argument.
Okay, so but when we do that, because my thing is that the only reason why we use dollars is pretty much because the government says that's what you got to use. So we move in that direction. Is the government gonna come in and take over Bitcoin? Because they're gonna want to be in a position where they dictating to everybody how this is gonna work.
Yeah, they do. I think that's what makes it like scary to them is because I don't think at this point they kind of can.
They can't.
Okay.
When like
that's
can. But it's very, 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 very difficult. Right. So so when you look at I don't want to turn this to a conspiracy theory thing, but when you look at how power and corruption and influence, how those work, it's a small amount of people making these decisions that we all live by.
Exactly.
But when you have millions and millions of people that have bought into something else and are already exchanging it, there are people out there that live on crypto right now. After my talk with Deshaun, I start realizing like how I can get out of the banking system and started moving towards that way. So there's a whole community and infrastructure, and that to me is what made me really like to start to sit back and study this space. Because for one, as someone who studies precious metals, I see the similarities, but I also see the advantages of not having the physical. So I see the advantages of having the physical, but also see the advantage of not having the physicals, which is now I'm doing a combo thing where I'm like, all right, let me stop buying as many metals as I was buying, take half of that and buy this, because I see the advantages of both sides. But with so many people, millions and millions of people buying in and investing in the space, it's going to be difficult for them to regulate it. So, But the crazy part about it is we still have millions of people in it, but there's still millions and millions who aren't in it. And that's kind of what I think about, because eventually they're going to come out with their own, the dollar is going to be digital. Like that's going to happen. How soon it'll happen, but it'll happen. What does that mean for the crypto space? I don't think it's going to affect it. Like I've asked this question to other experts, but my personal opinion is I don't think it'll affect it because you already have so many people who believe in it and who are operating in the space. So if us and all the people right now watching on YouTube and Facebook, if we decide that this is how we're going to exchange value, that's how we're going to exchange value. And it kind of doesn't matter what else is going to be going on out there. So, but to answer your question about specific coins, that one I really don't know. I do like Stellar Lumens because it moves so fast, and also I noticed that with Coinbase now, who a lot of people think Coinbase is a new bank, with them coming out with their debit cards and things, they said that they're going to give cash back like a similar Visa card would, and the cash back will be 1% in Bitcoin, or you could choose to give 4% back, but you have to accept Stellar Lumens. To me, when I hear that, I'm like, okay,
yeah.
something's going on there with that. Like, so,
okay.
Let me see. Says thoughts on XRP. XRP is the standard. That's what they tell you on. That's what they tell you on Twitter. Funny, the guy that worked on Stellar and XRP, that the same guy worked on both projects, but one was like made for banks. But XRP to me is crypto, but it's not really crypto. It's not.
Yeah.
Most recent market transfer of wealth. March bottom. Yeah, the market does this transfer about every 5 years.
Yep.
That's insane, man. Like,
I agree with you.
Transfers of wealth that happen in the stock market, man. That's absolutely insane, man. The government has already created digital dollar, 1-to-1 peg to the paper dollar. Yeah, see that it's already done. It's a done deal.
Yeah,
but how do you?
It happened already.
Yeah. Okay.
Damn.
Stellar CEO recently had a presentation with the IMF and the World Economic Forum.
Ooh, that's big money. They
about to get on board.
I might just
listen,
go
man.
in.
Stellar right now is less. It's
Stellar Lumens tonight, just because.
Hey, Rich, I know Rich is watching, man. What's Stellar going for per coin, man? Stellar is relatively cheap right now.
Like
I'm sitting on Stellar just because I I was testing it versus like. It's 10 cents. Okay.
I don't know.
Well, they saying just came on my Facebook feed.
Let me write that shit down. Stellar Lumen.
It's 8 cents.
In history, at one time, they put their own currency and was used as legal tender. Soon the government put an end to that. Same will be true for crypto. But yeah, but my thing is how though, right? So I think it's easy to do that back then with the physical. How do you do that with the digital? Like I just don't understand how it can be done, especially when with all the first of all, the smartest minds in the world are working in crypto now. I can't say that was the same for states your own currency. The smartest minds in the world. I'm always amazed at the different projects that and shout out to Rich too, man. Because Rich sent me something this morning I actually looked at and applied for. I'm waiting for him to get back to me. Which was a company called Realty, REALT.co. They're putting residential real estate on the blockchain. They're putting up. I'm talking about affordable stuff. The property they put up most recently, it was like $78,000, a Detroit home, and they already got a rented out Section 8, and they're allowing you, they're tokenizing it. But when you see minds, like some of the smartest minds that are in the world are working in this space, I just don't see how the government completely regulates it. Like, is it going to be? Going to make it illegal to have crypto? Like, you're going to treat it like
the money they got out here now. They can't even completely regulate that shit. So it's going to be 30 years before they figure out partly how to regulate this stuff. Because when the smart
Monero,
they putting in loopholes and back doors so that they can keep making money off of it. It's always going to be a black
IRS
money. The
IRS literally put out a bounty to see if someone can crack the Monero platform.
I got rid of my Monero. As soon as you sent me that article, because I was buying Monero. As soon as you sent me that article, I got out of that and put it in Ethereum because I was like, hell, if they're gonna crack it, I can't get privacy, then I might as well just keep buying Ethereum.
The government always allows the smartest mind to create the projects at their expense. That's a great point, though, because the government is it's so evil, man. It's so evil.
Yeah, it's the government wild.
That's one way right there, though, dog. Right here, they're gonna be looking at tax regulations. Man, listen, man.
They can try.
See, I'm gonna watch what I say right here, but I'm gonna watch what I say right here, man. But that's one of when you start talking about precious metals,
Yeah,
I'm gonna be quiet.
Stop right there.
I'm gonna leave that alone, man. Precious metals is a powerful space. Let's just put it that way. It's a powerful space. Listen, man, we've been on here for about an hour and a half, man. David, before we get you out of here, man, I gotta ask you like a couple more questions and then we can get out of here, man. The first thing is, man, I want to make sure the people that are watching this and that watch this in the future go check you out, man. What's the best way for them to actually check you out? Is it Facebook, IG? Where do you spend your time at?
So let's try it now because I had to move a little bit off Facebook. So you can find me on YouTube under Diamond Dave, And you also can find me on the IG under Diamond_Dave. So we kind of trying to migrate some stuff off Facebook more onto YouTube and Instagram because we feel like those platforms are a little bit more open to what we're trying to do. So if somebody wants to reach out to me, that's how they can find me.
Got you. Yeah, I noticed. Like I had sent you a message on your old profile to check on you because I was like, "Yo, David been on my timeline talking that talk." I was like, "I thought Zuck came after me."
David, yeah, they did. But, I got put off of them.
Rounded your ass up. I was like, "Yo, what happened to Dave?"
Yeah, I had got put off, man, and I couldn't get back on.
Where they put you off for? Something you said?
No, I mean somebody hacked my page. Damn. And then what they did was they hacked my page in a way, and then you emailing them and they don't answer any emails. So I had to just start over. So I say I'm not even gonna repeat that. I'm gonna just move. That's why I moved everybody from Facebook to Discord, because you know how it goes. You got to move the spot. So I had to move everybody over there.
Yeah. Yo. I need in on that.
Okay, I'm gonna shoot me your Gmail and I'll get you right. All right.
Oh, yo, I never spend time on Discord. I be on Telegrams, man. Like I had a Telegram for a while, never used it. Talking to Rich the other day, Rich was like, "Yo, you got to go on Telegram, like for the crypto combos. That's where they at." So I've been on Telegram. Okay.
Yeah,
that's what's up, man. So yeah, man. But I want to make sure I put the links in the description so people can actually take a look at what you got going on, man. So because I think what you do is powerful, man. You give out game, man. You do out game, man, and you make people stay awake. Mark said he just copped some Stellar Lumens. Mark, that wasn't investment advice, so that don't work out. Don't blame us. We were just putting it out there.
If that joint tanked down the 1 cent, man, it was just you just heard things on conversation, man. We ain't giving you advice. It wasn't us.
Yeah, but I want to say something real quick, man. I really appreciate y'all having me on y'all platform. Because from the first time I got on, I had people reach out to me to do business because they had seen me on your show. So the reason why I didn't always jump on, because I wanted to allow everybody else to get that same opportunity to get on, to get access to the platform. So I didn't want to just try to monopolize it, but I really appreciate having you on, because people reached out to me and was like, "I saw you on Body Hood, and that's why I'm reaching out to you." So I just want to let y'all know that I appreciate it for what y'all doing and how it I want to talk about stuff that's a little bit more serious that we can use to try to educate and inform our people.
Man, I appreciate that, bro. And that's what it's all about, man. That's what it's all about. Mark says he tried to hit you up on IG. He said it's Diamond. It's Diamond_Dave Williams, right? David Williams. Let me see. I can look it up now. It's not Diamond_Dave. It's Diamond_ I think David Williams.
Yeah.
And that. Let me see. I'm gonna check real quick for you, Mark. Yeah, it's Diamond_David Williams. That's the IG handle. It's David Diamond_David Williams. And listen, by the way, Mark, let me know. Mark, are you on Celsius? Let me know if you're on Celsius, because I moved my Stellar. All the Stellar app was sitting on. I just moved it over to Celsius, and now they paying me close to 4% on that. Just for doing nothing but letting it sit in a different place. So. Let me know if you want Celsius, Mark. Shoot me an inbox or something, because I'll get you plugged in with Celsius, man. That's what we putting our crypto at and getting this bread. But man, Dave, man, wants to say appreciate you, man, to our audience, man. Listen, if you watched this episode, you've seen the brother in the comments, man. Deshaun, who was just in the comments, he's a crypto trader and expert, and he was actually just on our podcast talking about how he was able to use cryptocurrency to leave his job, take care of his family. And he's in the space full time. Make sure that you check out that episode. It had dropped just this past Wednesday.
We got a lot of experts in our
comments. It's a powerful.
Yeah. So for the record, Antonio,
we got a lot of experts in our comments, man. That's what I'm saying. It's about the
community. Yeah, it's a lot of them in our comments, man.
We got to get Mark on too, man, because Mark out here putting in work in the real estate game, man, and he's an investor. So Mark, we got to hit you up too, bro. Have Mark come on, but
come on through.
Mark, I'm gonna shoot you a message when I get off here, man, because I got to show you where to put your Stellar at that you just copped. But anyway, make sure you check out the Sean's episode, because he gave a lot of game. We had a great conversation about the crypto space and about the transfer of wealth. And that's an amazing episode. This next episode that we got coming out next Wednesday, this brother is doing all kinds of stuff. He actually owns several businesses, one of which is a beauty supply store, And his thing is he's teaching black folks how to open beauty supply stores in the neighborhood to take advantage of all the money we spend in the space. He literally did like what that wasn't his specialty, but he said, look, where are we spending money at? I'm going to get in business doing that. And he's done so. And now he's helping other people do the same thing. He's coming up this next Wednesday, another powerful episode. So we want to say thank you for tuning in with us, man. Thank you, Dave, man. We appreciate it. Mark said he found you on IG, so he just hit you up on IG.
Okay.
But listen, man, check us out next Friday. We'll be right back here talking about whatever it is in the world of business, investing, crypto, real estate, whatever you want to talk about, we'll talk about. We appreciate all the support, man. And we'll see y'all next week. And just stay in tune with everything we got on. Make sure you catch us out this Sunday, too, on the Black Wealth Project Roundtable, as is Corey, myself, and other experts in the financial space, just having a conversation about Black issues. But we'll see y'all Sunday. And, make sure to check out the podcast and check us out next Friday. We'll get y'all. Peace.
Peace out.